I'll tell your kid that they snore in their sleep really often. That way you'll know if they're pretending to sleep because they'll fake snore. Tell them they clean the house in their sleep for extra profit. So, you have heard of sleepwalking, right? Well, child, you are one I have never seen. You clean your room in your sleep. It is quite fascinating. So all those times when the child is really sleeping, you have to go clean up the room to keep up with the act. Tell them the tooth fairy makes it dirty after they finish. Lol. r/knock and text. Parents told me my breath smelled different when I lied. Only found out at an embarrassingly old age it wasn't the smell. It was the strength I'd breathe into their faces that told me. Like yeah, I'll breathe softer when you lied. Like barely at all. And when I was telling the truth I'd let out a level 5 hurricane equivalent in their faces. Ha ha ha. Luckily kids are pretty dumb. Tell them they whistle in their sleep for more definitive results. That'd be fucking hilarious to walk in and see your kid whistling with his eyes closed acting all slick. I'd be so confused because I physically can't whistle. Be a good way to make me fall asleep early though. For some reason I know a bunch of people who can't whistle and they all get really agitated if anyone mentions whistling. Might you provide some insight on the matter as someone who has a whistling disability? I don't get agitated, but it angers me that I can't. I remember there was a music class once where we had to whistle a tune, and I got segregated from the class because of my inability to do it, and that's where the problem stems unfortunately. Whistling is as common as clicking TK most people, so those who can't are automatically noticed during childish activities that include whistling, which in turn leads to a deep resentment to the ability. Even now I resent the fact I'm unable to do it, and clicking about it is making me suffer jealous fits. I see these tips a lot, but I have a 7 and a 3-year-old, and I can't recall a single time that I couldn't tell if they were sleeping just by looking. HMN. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. Maybe try the LPT if you wanna fuck with them though. For a second there I thought you didn't say with. Looks at your username, yeah, this is pretty fucked up. Enough internet today, bye. What if they actually do snore really often? Tell them they don't. Just tell them that they do something when they sleep that they don't actually do, so that when they fake sleep they'll try and make it realistic, and then you have a foolproof sign of their deception. My parents told me you move in your sleep, which to an extent is true. As a kid, I thought it meant almost constant movement. I used to wonder how they always knew I was awake, lol. You were the ideal kid for this LPT. Guess so, haha. This isn't unethical, just smart enough. I'm one of those weird unreasonable people that thinks lying is still unethical when done to children. Depends on the motive. If the motive is because it's funny, then it's totally within ethics. My ethics. Anyway. Well, it also depends on your notion of funny in this context. It's almost as if CONTEXTMATTERS and would solve tons of stupid arguments all at once. I told my toddler they beep when they are asleep. I pretended to sleep and beeped myself a few times. Lo now beeps when fake sleeping. It is hilarious. I tell my daughter her ears change color when she tells lies. Fucking genius, man. My mom used to tell me she could tell if I was lying by looking at my tongue with age-related power, so whenever I lied I only stuck out my tongue a little bit. And when I was telling the truth my entire tongue stuck out, and I never made the connection that makes me guilty from the start to hide it. I've heard of some parents telling their children their ears turn red when they lie, so the kid responds by covering their ears with their hands when lying. Do any of these commenters actually have kids? This LPT is sort of true, but also useless as fuck. Who really cares if the kid is faking it or not if you don't need them? Good. They're being quiet. If you do, you just get them up and tell them what they need to do. My kid fake sleeps and or really sleeps on like 65% of car rides. I don't know, nor do I care which is which. It's not about the sleeping, because right, who cares as long as they're not causing any trouble? It's all about the long game. This can be one of the small things that helps contribute to the illusion that you have an uncanny ability to tell when they are lying. Or even better, that you know what they are thinking. You just whisper, "I know you're awake," and then go about your business. This works without the snoring piece, though, because if you're wrong they won't know it, since they're actually asleep. This is why I always yell "I know you're in there" when I enter any room. My 2-year-old will run to his bed, cover up his body with his blanket leaving just his face uncovered, and will start fake snoring as soon as he gets in position. The thing is, he forgets to close his eyes nearly every time. I still act like I believe he is asleep, walk over and attempt to wake him up. Usually a huge smile starts on his face for a few seconds before he jumps up as fast as he can and startles me. Naturally, he runs away with his maniacal gotcha laugh. This is actually pretty amazing. Don't have kids. That's just regular LPT. Nothing unethical about being child free. I know, but those who aren't force it on other people and appear to make it unethical. As long as it's not hurting anything, it's alright as far as I'm concerned. You're hurting your family and society. A lot of kids do this anyway cause they associate sleep with snoring. You can also try holding up their hand in the air and try to let it fall, but before you let go, you talk to them and say, "If this hand falls, then kid is just pretending to sleep." If they pretend to sleep while not snoring, then you know your kid's dumb. Most unusual LP I've read. Is it really though, is it? Buddy has 3 kids. He uses a stud detector as a lie detector and places which kid he suspects to be in trouble on a spot there is a stud. As soon as he drags it over the kid, it'll start beeping. The kid tells the whole story after that. That's some next level shit. Savage. I tell my kids they all piss their beds. High level. I gasped and tried to recall anything my parents told me that would yield similar results. This is so funny and genius. 9. Don't tell them if they're having sleepovers. They're not going to sleep well because they're afraid of snoring. r/unethical tips. I've taught Micah this. So whenever she is pretending to sleep she sounds like SpongeBob snoring Mayo. Hahaha, that's so great. I didn't tell that to my kid, but he still snores when pretending to sleep and not when he is really sleeping. My kid does too. Probably because I snore when I sleep, and because I've always done it when I pretend to sleep. My mom I think used this on me and it worked. I faked snored when I wasn't asleep. So can confirm, it works. Just text them. I'd just say "I'm awake now." A lot of little kids already do this. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.